Welcome my dear students, welcome to our channel Multimedia of Science. Today we are discussing about the topic Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants, Botany second chapter from plus 2. So I will take this chapter as part by part because I wish it is to be done in detail for entrance level also. So we can start. First, we are discussing about the male reproductive system and female reproductive system in the flowering plants. The flowering plants, which is an angiosperm. Angiosperms are known as to be the flowering plants, and the study of the flower, culturing of flower, is named as to be what? Floriculture. Floriculture. So what do you mean by floriculture? It is a question which is given in that of the NCERT textbook. Okay. Then angiosperm. Angiosperm are flowering plants, and in this male reproductive system and female reproductive systems are there. First we want to mentioning about the name which is given for this male and female specifically. So first, male gametophyte. Just introducing some terms. Male gametophyte, female gametophyte. Male gametophyte, which is mean it is pollen. The pollen is otherwise called male gametophyte. The female gamete, it is embryo sac. The embryo sac is otherwise known as female gametophyte. Clear? Yes. Then megasporangium, it is ovule. Okay. Megasporangium, it is ovule. Then pollen mother cell, it is otherwise called microspore mother cell. Okay, so MMC, microspore mother cell, which is otherwise named as to be pollen mother cell. Okay, let's start with our section. That is, in androecium, the male or female, the male, another name for male is called what? Androecium. Another name for female is gynoecium. In androecium, two structures. That is, one is anther filament. The long stalk, it is called filament. This is anther. Then what is the speciality of this anther? Okay, that is, so our first one is about anther. What do you mean by anther? It is a structure which is on the androecium structure, or it is a stamen. Okay, this is all together named as to be stamen. It is four-sided. So it is called tetragonal structure. Tetragonal structure. Okay. While looking this, we can see a longitudinal groove within this anther. This is called what? Longitudinal groove. Longitudinal groove, which bisects this. Okay. So this is anther, and this consists of what? 2 theca. Okay, 2 theca. This is one, this is another one. So 2 theca consisting, and which is named as to be what? Dithecus. Okay, so and there is Dithecus. Okay, then we are studying about what? The structure of anther, detailing. Okay, this is what? Microsporangium. Microsporangium. Okay, and it consists of 4 wall layers. Okay, in this one, the actual figure which is given in that of the NCERT textbook, the outer layer is called what? Epithelium. The second layer, which is endothelium. The third one, it is middle layer. And inner to this, what is present? Tapetum. Okay, these are the 4 layers, which is wall layers, which is present in that of the microsporangium. Clear? Here, the tapetum. What is the function of this tapetum? Function of this tapetum is nourishment. Okay, nourishment is the main function of the tapetum. Nourishment is the main function of this tapetum, and these 3 layers, what is epithelium, endothelium and middle layers, these 3 layers are providing the protection. Okay, the function of these wall layers are protection. Clear? Then tapetum, which is much more important. It consists of more than one nucleus. More than one nucleus. That is the first point about tapetum. Okay. Then second point, it has dense cytoplasm. Dense cytoplasm. That is the second main important point about the tapetum. Okay. Then which is much more important about this is anther. When anther is young, sporogenous tissue which is formed inside of or center of this microsporangium. So what is microsporangium? This is microsporangium, and inside to this, what is present? Sporogenous tissue is present. So sporogenous tissue is present in the center of microsporangium at which stage? When the anther is at young stage. Clear? Next is about microsporogenesis, which is another topic. Microsporogenesis. What do you mean by microsporogenesis? When the pollen mother cell, okay, which is already mentioned, pollen mother cell or microspore mother cell, pollen mother cell or microspore mother cell undergo what? Meiosis. Okay, undergo what? Meiosis. to form what? Microspore tetrad. Microspore tetrad. So microspore tetrad is forming from pollen mother cell through the meiosis is named as to be what? Microsporogenesis. Okay. Then this microspore, okay, microspore tetrad or this microspore cluster, okay, this cluster is forming what? The pollen grain. Pollen grain. Okay. So microspore tetrad clustered to form pollen grain. And what is pollen grain? The male gametophyte. Okay. This male gametophyte is pollen. This is formed by the clustering of microspore tetrad. Clear? Next we are dealing with pollen grain. The structure of pollen grain. So it is very important topic. Pollen grain in the state syllabus also. The structure of pollen grain, which is very important. Okay, that is consisting of the two layers, outer layer and inner layer. The inner layer, which is called what? Indine, and the outer layer is called what? Exine. Then this exine layer is made up of what? Sporopollen. Okay, sporopollen. The sporopollen is a chemical which is present inside the exine only. Okay, in indine there is no sporopollen, and in exine there is some pores, and this pores is called what? Germ pores. What? Germ pores. Okay, and this germ pores which does not have the presence of sporopollen. Okay, so what do you mean by germ pore? Germ pore, it is important, which is present in, okay, present in where? Exine, and which is does not have any presence of sporopollen. So no sporopollen. Sporopollen. Okay. Sporopollen. What is sporopollen? Okay. This sporopollen, which is most resistant organic material, which is not. Okay. And it can withstand high temperature. Okay. It can withstand the high temperature, alkali, and the strong acids. Strong acids. The sporopollen can withstand high temperature, alkali, and strong acid. Okay, and it is most organic resistant, which is non. Okay, then we are discussing about the size of pollen grain. Okay, size of pollen grain is about 25 to 50 micrometer. It is very important for the NEET exam. 25 to 50 micrometer is the size of pollen grain. Clear? Then indine and exine. So we already say that exine is made up of sporopollen, and indine is made up of the cellulose and pectin. Okay, so indine which is made up of what? Cellulose and pectin. Clear? This is about overall pollen grain. When this pollen grain is get into a mature form, so let's talk about the mature pollen grain. So mature pollen grain. In mature pollen grain, there is two divisions. Okay, this is considered to be as a mature pollen grain, and it is have two division. That is, this is named as to be vegetative cell. This is generative cell. Such a type of division which is present in the mature pollen grain is named as to be two-celled stage. Two-celled stage. Okay. This is two-celled stage. But in some plants, the pollen grains are shed at three-celled stage. Okay. What is three-celled stage? Yeah, one vegetative cell, but there is two generative cell. Which are they? This and this. These two are what? Generative cell. Two generative cells and one vegetative cell. This type of structure is named as to be three-celled stage. Okay. In most of the plants, the pollen grains are shedding at 60% of the all plants are shed their pollen grains at this two-celled stage. Okay, two-celled stage. 60% of the plants are shedding at two-celled stage and all other plants are at three-celled stage. It's much more important. Okay. Then the allergy or chronic respiratory disorders which is caused by that of the pollen grains are given in that of the NCERT textbook. And example for that is Parthenium. Parthenium, which is otherwise called as carrot grass. Carrot grass. Okay, which is imported in India along with that of the wheat. Okay, it is imported along with the wheat, and it causes some pollen allergy. Okay, so allergy, bronchitis are all included in that of the chronic respiratory disorders which is caused due to this pollen. Okay, that is the side effect or any defect that is can be seen with that of the pollen grain. Okay, then about viability, there is a paragraph which is about viability. Viability of what? Pollen grain. Viability of pollen grain. Yeah, in rice and wheat. Rice, wheat have less time for their viability. Okay, so their viability will lose within 30 minutes. Okay, yes, but in some plants such as Rosaceae, Leguminosae, Solanaceae, etc., they have viability for months. Viability, which means the time. Okay, so in rice and wheat, they lose their viability within the viability of pollen grain loss within 30 minutes. But in some plants such as what? Rosaceae, Leguminosae, Solanaceae are having viability of months. Clear? It is about the viability. Then some more point about vegetative and generative cell. Yeah, vegetative cell is about irregular nucleus. Okay, vegetative cell is having irregular nucleus. But this generative cell is floats in that of the vegetative cell. Okay, this vegetative cell is very much large than that of the generative cell. So generative cell is floating in the cytoplasm of vegetative cell. Clear? Then Next one, the storage of the pollen grain. Okay. The pollen grain is storing by the effect of sporopollen. Okay. The sporopollen, which is already mentioned, that it is formed in that of the pollen grain. Okay, it is present in that of the outer exine layer of pollen grain, which is highly resistant. Okay, and this highly resistant sporopollen, and it is due to the presence of this sporopollen, the pollen grains can be stored in the laboratory, okay, condition, that is at minus 196 degree Celsius in what? Liquid nitrogen. The storage of this pollen grain is in minus 196 degrees Celsius in liquid nitrogen, and this storage is possible is only due to the presence of this sporopollen. Okay, clear? Yes. That is about our first topic, that is the introduction or the first part. So this pollen storage is mainly used in the case of the pollen bank, that is seed bank, crop breeding programs, etc. Okay, now I'm concluding this section. I believe that I done all the first part of this chapter. Okay.